Right. How to survive every natural disaster. Listen, this intrigued me because, of course, I always want to live. And it's good to know because storms are picking up. I don't know. Recently, there's just been a bunch of storms. So let's see how to survive every natural disaster. 1 second. Almost there. Hold on 1 second, chat. All right, let's just
And
start
work
it
our
from
way
here.
towards the deadliest of them all. Number 15, hailstorms. There has been a handful of deaths directly linked to hailstorms in recent history, and I couldn't just stand around and do nothing about it, since I know a few of you sometimes go outside. Obviously, as of right now, with the current knowledge you have, the odds of you surviving any natural disaster are slim to none. But by the end of this video, you will not only have the knowledge necessary to survive, but more importantly, the confidence to brag about it. Anyone who knows me can quickly tell you about my previous work, which, without a shadow of a doubt, has saved over 2 million lives and counting. So rest assured, you're in great hands. Here are the most common signs that a hailstorm is gearing up to attack you. A thunderstorm is nearby, a greenish sky, rolling clouds, sudden wind and temperature changes, and shifting rain patterns. Now, the good news is that hailstorms typically begin with light small hail before larger deadly size hail begins to rain down. So if you live in an area where it doesn't snow, you will only have a small window of time to pretend like it does. If you're ever caught in the open during a deadly hailstorm, the first thing you must do is protect your head. Use your arms or whatever you have to shield this weak spot. Remember, a large hailstone could easily one-shot you and send you back to the lobby. While protecting your head, quickly move in a crouch position towards the nearest overhead cover, which lowers your odds of receiving a critical hit. For those of you who don't hit the gym, be careful. Even a body shot could be fatal. If for some reason you aren't near any cover, look for
Hit the
ditches,
gym, ladies and
bushes, or
gentlemen.
depressions in the ground to lower the odds of being struck. Remain in cover until the storm has passed. Easy. Number 14, sandstorms. It's estimated that around
Ooh,
330 million
Arizona.
people from around the world have their health negatively affected by sandstorms. Obviously, it would be incredibly arrogant for me to say that I could save all of them, but in 100 years, when this video has 330 million views, you will know I did. Even though sandstorms don't kill people directly, they do cause respiratory illness to millions, and that's enough to make me slightly angry. Here are a few pictures of sandstorms so you can see how devastating they must truly be. These are the signs you need to watch out for, as they could save your life. A giant 1,000-foot wall of dust heading your way is one of the strongest indications that a sandstorm is approaching. If you're ever caught in the open during a sandstorm, the first thing you have to do is cover your eyes, nose, and mouth with any piece of clothing to protect your eyes and lungs. Use anything in the environment to shield yourself from the powerful winds, debris, and dust by crouching down next to it and waiting the storm out. It should come without saying, but avoid roads at all costs, since all the accidents will only slow you down. Most sandstorms typically last 30 minutes to a few hours, so whatever you do, don't panic and just wait it out. Number 13, blizzards. Blizzards are one of the easiest natural disasters to survive. All you need is the right knowledge and thousands of dollars for the correct clothing. It's estimated that blizzards kill a few hundred people each year, but not if I have something to say about it. Cut it out. These are the most common signs that a blizzard is out to get you. Thick storm-like clouds, a sharp decline in temperature, strong gusts of wind, and decreasing visibility. Here's exactly what you need to do to survive if you're caught outside during a blizzard. First, you need to find shelter as soon as possible, so use whatever you have in the environment to shield yourself from the high winds and snow. This is your chance to be creative, so have fun out there. A large tree, a depression in the ground, a small snow cave, or even a 2-story log cabin are all viable options. Next, make sure to cover your skin, unless you don't mind losing it. Then be patient, conserve energy, and wait the storm out. Here's what you should never do. If you get thirsty, don't eat the snow. This will lower your body's temperature and could lead to hypothermia. Next, don't exercise. This is not the time to make drastic life changes. Walking long distances and sweating could be deadly. If possible, plant a stick and tie a bright colored cloth to it. This will increase the odds of someone finding you. The Weather Channel also recommends that after you have shelter, start a fire to keep yourself warm. But I know my audience, and the best we can do is shake a hand warmer, so make sure to do that now. Feel free to use your phone at any time to call for help. This increases the odds of survival, but also carries the risk of the call going viral if they don't find you, which would be embarrassing. Number 12. Extreme wind events. Being killed by air has to be the most embarrassing way to go out, and I will do whatever it takes to make sure you don't have to worry about that. Extreme wind events are powerful non-tornadic windstorms that reach upwards of 100 miles per hour. Here are all the signs you might get picked up and body slammed by high winds. Sudden sharp gusts, debris lifting, dust kicking up, or a fast approaching storm. But let's talk about what you should do if you're ever bullied by wind. First, head towards a sturdy shelter. A shed, tree, or any structure you built is definitely not going to cut it. If you're in your vehicle, park away from trees, power lines, or any questionable buildings. For those of you who are outside during an extreme wind event and have no shelter nearby, look for a ditch to lay in or natural barriers like the side of a hill. Get low and make yourself as small as possible. As I'm sure you already know, small targets are harder to hit. Cover your head and neck and stay put until the wind subsides. It doesn't get easier than that. Number 11. Wildfires. Wildfires claim hundreds of lives per year, which is tragic, since they are one of the easiest natural disasters to survive. If you were taught how to listen, you can survive. Your phone will ring with Amber Alerts. Trucks will drive by blasting emergency sirens and instructing you to leave. Once you realize they will not let you watch TV in peace, most people typically cave to the demands. Now, for those of you who are heavy sleepers and slept through all the warnings, I will show you exactly what to do if you find yourself surrounded by wildfire. Let's start with what not to do. You might assume that exiting your home and taking your chances outside is your best bet. Wrong. Humans are only fireproof for about 3 seconds. And whatever you do, stay far away from your stockpile of baby oil. Let's begin. First things first, close all the windows and doors. This will lower the odds of deadly smoke overtaking your home. Next, head into the room that is furthest from the nearest fire. Make sure that room has an emergency exit like a window, door, or catapult. Stay low to the ground to prevent breathing in smoke and call for help. Firefighters respond to life-threatening situations first when rescue is possible. As you wait to be rescued, use the time to come up with a good excuse for why you didn't leave the area after dozens of warnings. In the worst case scenario, if your home catches fire, you'll have to gamble your life and take your chances outside. And don't worry about your home. Even with insurance, you're not getting it back. Look for broad areas that have nothing on them, like an open field. Get low, cover your mouth and nose, and make a run for it. Hopefully, if you have good karma saved up, it should pay off here. Then stay low, wait for the fire to pass, or move to a larger open area if you can. Number 10. Dry mass movements. Dry mass movements have killed tens of thousands of people in the last century, with an average of 1 to 4,000 per year. Thankfully, as long as you're willing to learn and have eyes, you won't have to worry about it. Here are the signs that could save your life. Cracks in soil, pavement, or foundations near slopes, bulging ground at the base of a slope, leaning trees, poles, or fences, and accumulation of loose rock debris at the slope's base. For those of you who don't have eyes but have upgraded hearing, check for the following sound cues. Unusual rumbling, cracking, or popping sounds coming from the earth are all signs that a landslide is about to occur, or that it's too late. But alright, let's start saving lives. If you're ever caught near a landslide, you will need to run diagonally down the mountain, since landslides flow quicker at the center and slow down at the edges. In the worst case scenario where you fail to escape and are taken by the landslide, curl up into a ball and protect your head and neck. You should look something like this. If you begin to sink into the debris, swim up to the surface, which will obviously require the swim ability. Whenever you catch a break from being tossed around like a rag doll, run diagonally across the sloped terrain to escape, or wiggle across if every bone is broken. And remember, landslides often occur back to back, so don't stick around. If you get trapped under heavy debris, signal SOS. You could also try the word help. I've heard of people having success with that. Number 9. Thunderstorms. Experts estimate that there are anywhere from 6,000 to 24,000 deaths around the world each year from lightning alone. But if I had to guess, that number should drop to 0. After all, avoiding a lightning strike only requires 2 things: knowledge and luck. If you're ever caught outside with a thunderstorm directly overhead, your best option is to find the nearest shelter. Your second best option is to enter your car, since it acts as a Faraday cage, redirecting the current safely into the ground. If there's a Faraday cage nearby, you could also just use that. If you're out in the wilderness, the challenge will slightly increase. You'll need to avoid tall, isolated objects like towers, trees, and poles, since lightning seeks the quickest route to the ground, and the highest points serve as shortcuts. If you feel the hair on your body stand up or hear a buzzing, those are signs that you're about to be annihilated by lightning. Unless you do the following: crouch low, place your feet together with heels touching, cover your ears, and tuck your head. This power stance gives you the highest odds of surviving by reducing the amount of current that can pass through your body and directing most of it around you instead of through you. And contrary to popular belief, lightning oftentimes strikes the same place twice. So if you're hit once, you should get the timing down and be able to dodge roll the second one. Ideally, you'll want to wait out the storm in a low, broad area with evenly spaced trees. But if there's nothing around you, look for a depression on the ground and wait out the storm there, which shouldn't take longer than 40 minutes. Number 8. Volcanic eruptions. There have been hundreds of thousands to millions of human lives lost due to volcanic eruptions in recorded history. So it was only right that we built some of the largest cities in the world around them. If you're one of the millions of people who live near an active volcano, here are the signs to look out for: increased earthquakes, ground swelling or cracking, rising temperatures, and steaming or venting. These will typically appear a few days to a few hours before an eruption, so it should give you enough time to say goodbye to everyone in your home. But in extremely rare cases, you're just unlucky, and a volcano erupts without warning. Thankfully, most volcanoes erupt effusively, meaning they spew magma rather than erupting explosively. But of course, I'll be teaching you how to survive all the dangers that come with volcanoes. Let's start with the easy one. If you're near a volcano and an effusive volcanic eruption occurs, you'll need to run to high ground. This will keep you safe from lava and mud flows. If an explosive eruption occurs and it begins to rain down rock, head to the nearest cover, like a large rock or hillside. Curl up in the fetal position and protect your head and neck. Now, I know some of you go to bed in this position, so be very careful not to fall asleep. In the scenario where an explosive eruption occurs but the volcano releases pyroclastic flows, a deadly avalanche attack that consists of superheated gas, ash, and rock, you will easily counter this by getting in your car and fleeing. Remember, there is no shame in running away from a fight. At least that's what I tell myself every time I run away from a fight. In this scenario, it would be really helpful to own a Bugatti, so consider investing in one. It just might save you and your favorite family member's life.
We have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code.
Right.
This is Base 44.
The final last resort way to survive a pyroclastic flow is to get deep underground, like in a parking garage, and wait at least a day before coming back up to check out the new update. Number 7. Wet mass movements. Wet mass movements are water-saturated landslides, where water turns soil and rock into fast-moving, highly destructive flows. These are things like landslides, mud and debris flows, and lahars, which are volcanic mud flows. It's estimated that there have been around 2 million casualties since 1970 due to this natural disaster. So it's up to us to put an end to it once and for all. Here are the signs to watch out for during or after heavy rain on mountains and hillsides. Cracking ground, tilting trees or fences, and rapidly saturating soil are all clear signs that the slope is about to collapse. Thankfully, if the land decides to slide, you will be well prepared. First things first, get to high ground immediately. Not only will this be the safest place to be, but it will also provide you with the best angle to film. For those of you who aren't near the collapsing mountain but are unlucky enough to be in the direct path, don't worry, you will get some clues as well. If you hear the sound of breaking trees approaching or rumbling sounds similar to a train that seem to be getting louder, immediately run to the nearest high ground. And lastly, for those who are near a river or stream, you will get some clues as well. If the water suddenly stops, turns brown, or the level suddenly increases or decreases, yup, it's time to run uphill. But if for some reason you are sucked into the lahar, mud, or landslide, don't panic. Many people much smaller and weaker than you have survived this. At least I think so. So be confident in yourself. Even though these natural disasters move like water, they are much denser and can be more like fast-moving concrete, so you will need to become as buoyant as possible. For those who learned how to float on your back without getting water in your ear, this skill will finally be useful. I'm not kidding. The surface tension should keep you afloat, prevent head trauma, and stop your legs from snagging the floor and drowning. But if you don't know how to float on your back, don't worry. You will have one attempt to learn. Once you're floating and your arms are spread out, use them to swim horizontally across the surface and grab onto anything you can to exit the stream. Number 6. Tsunamis. There have been at least 500,000 deaths due to tsunamis in recorded history. But we're done. Here are the signs that a tsunami might be planning to surprise you. You're by the ocean and a large earthquake hits. The beach suddenly begins to recede or rise, and a loud roaring sound comes from the ocean. If you spot any of these, immediately run to the highest point available. If you're in the city, look for the sturdiest tall building, then head inside and go up. I can't believe I have to say this, but do not go to the shore to watch the wave. Many people have died doing just that, and I won't be embarrassed by one of my subscribers. For those of you who walk around with noise-canceling headphones and are taken by the tsunami, your odds of survival will be slim, but not impossible. Once you've tanked the initial impact of the wave, grab a hold of any large floating object and tightly hold on. Try your best to position yourself on the opposite side of the current to minimize the odds of getting squished, unless you're into that. As you travel inland, the waves should begin to slowly lose strength, hopefully enough to allow you to escape into a building or onto a solid structure. If you fail to do so, you might be dragged out to sea for round 2, 3, 4, and so on, since tsunamis typically hit back to back. Number 5. Earthquakes. I have survived thousands of earthquakes. No research went into this segment, not because I think I know everything, but because I don't need it. Here's exactly what to do if an earthquake decides to challenge you. If you're indoors, get under a sturdy desk and hold on. If you're out in the city, get away from buildings, windows, and power lines and head to the nearest open area. For those of you who don't drink and aren't used to the ground moving, it'll take a bit of balance to get around. If you're out enjoying the outdoors when an earthquake hits, you know what to do. And remember, large earthquakes always have aftershocks, so remain focused and easily survive those as well. In the rare and worst case scenario, where a very large earthquake hits and you're trapped under heavy debris, save your energy and instead of yelling, begin to tap stones in the SOS rhythm. 3 short taps, 3 long taps, 3 short taps, pause, and repeat. Hopefully, someone over the age of 60 hears this, since they're the only ones that will know what it is. Number 4. Tropical cyclones. There have been millions of casualties due to tropical cyclones, affecting around 20 million people per year. Obviously, that's a lot of people, and I can't guarantee that you won't be affected. But if you say something nice in the comments, I might consider it. Really quickly, hurricanes, cyclones, and typhoons are all the same thing. They're just named differently depending on where they are in the world. But from now on, I'll just call them hurricanes, since I live in the US. And I'm sure we can all agree that hurricane is the correct term. Here are the most common signs that a hurricane is heading your way. A guy on the TV said so. Hurricanes form far out over the ocean where we can't see them, so we depend on satellites and other technology to detect them. But alright, enough of that mumbo jumbo. Let's start saving lives. Whether you're someone who decided to stay, doesn't have the means to escape, or is just a twisted sadistic freak, we don't judge. First, you will need the following supplies. At least 3 days worth of food and water, waterproof flashlights, batteries, a first aid kit, and a radio. Next, you will need to secure your home, so begin by boarding up all the windows to prevent debris, glass, and sharks from entering your home. But for those of you who are outside when a hurricane is approaching, you will need to be quick, since high winds and floods can hit at any moment. Look for a solid concrete shelter, like buildings or public restrooms, but if there isn't any nearby, shelter underneath a highway underpass. Stay put and get comfortable, since it could take as long as 24 hours for the storm to pass. Easy. Number 3. Floods. Floods have killed millions of people in recorded history and are the most common natural disasters on the planet. Floods occur when more water enters an area than the land or drainage system can absorb, or when the man upstairs has had enough. Since our Earth loves to spam floods, you need to master how to survive them. That's why it's very important you know the fundamentals. Swimming. Once you've learned that and are comfortable with it, we can move on to the next section. Here's exactly what you should do to survive a flood. If you're indoors, get to the highest level immediately. If you're driving, never attempt to cross water. Even 6 inches of water can sweep away your car, so don't try it, unless you're confident that you have enough speed. For those of us who don't own an e-bike and are still getting around using our legs, do not cross moving water and stay far away from down power lines. In the worst case scenario where you are taken by a flood, you will need to stay upright, face downstream, keep your feet up and pointed forward. This will prevent them from getting trapped under debris, which has caused many people to drown. Swim horizontally to the edge of the current, not against it. And when possible, grab onto any solid object and climb up as high as possible, since floodwater can quickly rise. Stay put until it's safe to leave or you're rescued. Number 2, extreme heat waves. There are around 500,000 deaths around the world each year from extreme heat waves. But once you hear how easy it is to survive them, you're going to wonder, wow, why didn't I think of that? Here's exactly what to do to survive an extreme heat wave. Go into an air-conditioned room. You will notice the difference immediately. For those of you who live in Europe and don't have an air conditioner, you will need to make some compromises. Take a shower. This will lower your overall body temperature. Next, drink plenty of water and electrolytes. Wear loose and breathable clothing, which is optional. And whatever you do, do not go on a run or hike. Every year, thousands of people try to show off and end up needing a helicopter rescue from hiking trails. And trust me, it's not cheap. So if you're going to get heat stroke, make sure it happens at the Grand Canyon or Hawaii, so the ride is worth it. And since heat strokes are the largest cause of fatalities during a heat wave, survival depends on doing as little as possible. But just in case, here are the most severe symptoms of heat stroke. Confusion. If you become confused, take a second to lock in, call for help, and return back to being confused. Hot, dry skin that is no longer producing sweat, rapid pulse, and loss of consciousness are all life-threatening symptoms that require immediate medical attention. But perhaps the ones who suffer the most are children, since their agony can last for hours, stuck at the mall with their mom to avoid a high electric bill. Number 1. Extreme cold waves. Extreme cold waves claim 9 times more lives each year than heat waves, around 4.5 million casualties on average. But don't worry, it won't be you. Most cold-related deaths come from the elderly, and I know they're not on YouTube, they're on Facebook. Here's exactly what you need to do to survive an extreme cold wave. Stay indoors as much as possible. Psh, too easy. Consider having a backup generator, chopped wood, or nuclear reactor to heat your home. If you must go outside, cover all skin and make sure to dress in layers, which includes a waterproof outer layer. During extreme cold waves, most deaths occur due to hypothermia, so it's important to know what that looks like. Intense shivering, then loss of shivering even though you remain in the cold. Severe confusion, slurred speech, drowsiness, and feeling the need to remove clothing are all life-threatening symptoms that require immediate medical attention, or a sign that you should probably stop drinking. Let's say you're stuck outside in an extreme cold wave with no access to any shelter. What do you do then? First, you will need to get away from the wind, so use a hillside, trees, boulders, ditches, or whatever you can in the environment to block it. If there's snow, you can dig a small trench and lie inside it, because snow is an excellent insulator that traps heat. Just make sure to put something between your body and the snow, since direct contact will pull away heat very quickly. Tree branches, pine needles, dry grass, or any plant material works well as insulation. Stay put and wait for help to arrive, or begin to move once it's safe to do so. Easy. Now I know what you're thinking. He forgot to cover tornadoes and droughts. Not so fast. I didn't forget. There's just no point. You see, I've gone my entire life and never met anyone who lives or lived here. And I've talked to a handful of people. But what about droughts? Well, they only become extremely deadly in underdeveloped countries. And they're not on the internet.
Wow. That was something. I mean, I felt like I knew a lot of that stuff already, but definitely some good information, a little bit of good information that I didn't know. If you're worried about droughts, don't be. You'll only see your water bill double and a vegetable shortage, which shouldn't affect you. First of all, and the last thing about tornadoes, that's what I thought they was gonna show too. It didn't show anything about tornadoes. He said he didn't know anyone who lived in those middle states. Well, buddy, it's not just in the middle states, bro. I mean, tornadoes are they happen in a lot of states, man. But it's all good, man. Shout out, good enough. It was good enough, man, for sure.